Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Loads going on today. De Gea's return. We're about to sign a striker from France. We've also got an update from Fabrizio Romano on Gyökeres, an update on Frimpong, injury updates, red cards rescinded, Cunha, Delap, Ederson. Absolutely loads this morning. Ten Hag's going to Leverkusen apparently as well. We won't have time to go through this. But we'll give it our best shot. So much in there as well. Where do we start? Well, look, I know a lot of people are talking about Fabrizio Romano's update on Gyökeres, but we've got a bit of an update ourselves on a couple of things I want to get into as well. Exclusives, really, I suppose, around Delap, around Onana, around Cunha, and also I want to talk about this Ederson story that's come out as well. And the return of De Gea in relation to De Gea, very, very quickly, it's a positive news story. Man United are going to play a pre-season game against Fiorentina on August the 9th at Old Trafford. I think it was a disgrace. Whatever you think about this football club, it was disgusting the way De Gea was treated. Yeah, we'll give you a new contract, enjoy your holiday, on holiday, empty his locker, we're getting rid of him. Cowardly scum. Disgusting way to treat someone like that. So for him to come back and the people that really matter at this football club, the fans, to get to give him a send-off, I think is a really good news story. So really, really good news about David De Gea. Before I get into all that, a few messages. We are a community, so big shout out to Christian Caddy and Joy Walker, who are getting married tomorrow. Big shout out to them. Apparently this is a surprise message for Christian, so big up to him. Also, Sarah's son Tom from Solihull, stop watching YouTube and live streams and do your GCSE homework. I actually back your mother on this. I don't know who these people are, by the way, but I did rubbish in my GCSEs, and trust me, live streams will be there when you finish them. Put the work in now and get the rewards later. Get on it, Tom. But don't miss the United Stand. Just get rid of. Just don't watch Sidemen or something like that. They don't need the money. And then finally, a bit of a sad message. Arthur messaged me about a month ago. Alex messaged me about a month ago in relation to his dad, Arthur, who was suffering with a brain tumour and only had a few days left. Long-term fan of the United Stand. Unfortunately, I was meant to be doing a video message for him, and I emailed Alex back. He didn't email me back until a few days ago because, unfortunately, his dad died in between that time. However, he has said, could we do a little message for him that he's going to play at the grave? So, look, Arthur, you may no longer be with us, but Alex is. You'll always be a massive part of this community, and that's what the United Stand's about. It's a daily part of everybody's life beyond football. So, thoughts and prayers with Alex and his family, and rest in peace, Arthur. So, some nice messages there, and some sad ones as well, but also, the breadth of community, I suppose. So, shout out to you all who are watching. I know we're all going through life as well as football. Okay, on with the show. The show must go on, as Freddie Mercury once sang, who is also no longer with us. Let's talk about, where should we start? So I've got a bit of exclusive stuff around Delap. Remember, it was us on the United Stand a few weeks ago who broke that Delap was Man United's priority. So I was listening to what Laurie Whitwell said yesterday about Delap being Man United being a compelling option for Delap. It just felt like that update was a little bit backwards from where we are. He's a priority. So I spoke to our source yesterday last night about what's going on with Delap. So I've got some interesting updates around that because Bayern Munich have been linked to him now. Chelsea is still there. Also asked about Gyökeres. Now it's interesting because that sort of weaves in with what Fabrizio Romano has said. Welcome to Members Club, Dominic John Paul. Appreciate that. Get your badge in. So Fabrizio Romano this morning has said that Manchester United remain keen on Gyökeres. So where are we? Where are we? I think sometimes I'm the same as you. It's like you're getting one story, you're getting another story. Delap's the priority, but we're keen on Gyökeres. How would that even work? How would that even work? It's like you want to marry a 6 out of 10, but you're still keen on a 10 out of 10, and the 10 out of the 10 is there giving you the eye, but your priority is the 6 out of 10. And look, don't come at me because I'm not saying what that 6 out of 10 is. I'm not labeling it. I'm just saying 10 out of 10 is a better rating than 6 out of 10. United seem to be prioritising the 6 out of 10 when the 10 out of the 10 saying, come and get me. And I feel like that's why I don't really understand this story. So I got in contact with our source last night. Very, very good. I know what job they do. I know where it is. And it's close. So this was the person who told us in the international break that Amorim wants to replace Onana, but it's on Sir Jim as to whether he'll do it. This is the person that told us Delap was the priority and that Man United are confident they're going to beat Chelsea, but there is this obsession with Chelsea from Man United this summer. And that was before Ornstein or Athletic or Romano were even talking about Delap being the priority. So what, and I did ask about Gyökeres, but what I was told last night, and, you know, I've got to be honest, this is exchanged in messages. This is not a phone conversation. That's not how it works. So basically, I asked, what's going on? Because it seems like Delap is drifting away now because he's waiting till the end of the month and Man United's a compelling offer, but Bayern are interested. What I was told is Man United are absolutely confident that they've got Liam Delap. Absolutely confident. Bayern Munich, look, Bayern Munich have brought Dyer to bloody Bayern Munich. You know, like, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they would look at Delap, even though he's an Ipswich player. Remember, Vincent Kompany was in the Championship with Burnley, probably around the same time Delap was playing there. He will know about Delap. It wouldn't be surprising if they were considering Delap. But Delap to Bayern Munich when Harry Kane's still there, I mean, unless he's got an obsession with going to Germany and understudying Harry Kane, I don't think I was told, very, very surprised if he did that. So forget Bayern Munich. And I was also told that with Bayern Munich, it might just be United happy for that to be out there and Ipswich happy to be out there because it makes him sound more glamorous, because United are aware that Delap may not be as glamorous as what people want. So a story about Bayern Munich could be about that. In relation to Chelsea, I was told, look, Man United are confident they've beaten Chelsea to Delap because the perception of Chelsea is that they're chaotic. And although Man United are in a worse position, Chelsea, the way people look at Chelsea at the moment is it's just chaotic. Will Maresca be the manager there? Are there any fines coming down the road? Will they even be in Europe? Would they get into Europe next season? Chelsea's seen as a chaotic option as much as Man United is. So Man United remain, as I was told last night, Man United remain confident that Delap will sign for Manchester United. And a lot of that confidence is because Man United have spoken to Delap and he knows Wilcox and they're very confident they've got that deal done and they're very confident that they've stopped Chelsea. So that's where we are with that. All this compelling and, you know, if we qualify for Europe, nothing's changed from 3 weeks ago. United remain very confident that they've got Liam Delap. Now, things can change in football. Obviously they can. I asked about, like, well, what's all this Champions League stuff? What I was told is, but Chelsea might not be in the Champions League. Who's going for Delap that's in the Champions League? I was advised that might be a red herring, but we'll have to wait and see. But Man United's priority and confidence still remains, as of this morning, around Liam Delap. Now, I did ask that source about Gyökeres, and what I was told is what I was told 3 weeks ago, is that Amorim wants Gyökeres. That's not hidden. You know, anybody can say what they want about that. You know, Amorim wants Gyökeres. It's not rocket science. It's not breaking news. He took him from Coventry. He turned him into one of Europe's top strikers. He's gone to Manchester United and he wants him at Man United because, lo and behold, he needs a striker like that, of that profile, of that experience, who can play his system and hit the ground running. So Amorim wants Gyökeres. Everybody knows he wants Gyökeres. That doesn't even impact the Delap story. Like, Amorim wants Gyökeres. But it's a bit like being with the 6 out of 10, but there's the 10 out of 10. You might not be able to get it, so you just take the 6 out of 10. And that's probably what's happening here. Now, Fabrizio Romano this morning saying Man United remain keen on Gyökeres, it's not wrong, is it? It's just whether he's obtainable. And that's why, as of today, in the last 3 weeks, Liam Delap remains the priority for Man United, because Gyökeres, although it's the player Amorim wants, and it's probably the player Man United want, to be fair, but realism hits, and that's where we are at the moment. The only thing that could possibly change this is if we win the Europa League. And I don't for 1 second believe that we've got to win the Europa League to get Delap. But I think any chance of Gyökeres rests on winning the Europa League. And even then, we might not do it. So Osman, I would forget. Williams says, what about Osman? I would forget Osman. I think the stories around Osman are financial. And obviously Saudi is a place he will go if he can't find anything else, which means everyone else has got to pay Saudi money. And I don't think anybody's willing to do that. So that is where we are. Delap remains the priority. Man United are very confident that he's coming. They're certainly confident they've beaten Chelsea. And yeah, look, Gyökeres, I think it's a pipe dream at the moment. But dreams can come true. You know what I would like? I'd love to be telling you the Delap story's drifting away and the Gyökeres story's coming in. But as of last night, we're still where we are. And we've got a huge game tomorrow and next week. And we saw what happened with Arsenal last night against PSG. You can go into any game with optimism and hope and then get a big slap round the face, like a big wet fish of reality. And Arsenal had that last night, and we could have that over the next week. So we've got to take care of current business as well. And that's where we are with that. I don't know whether anyone saw this, by the way. Just throw it in. It is news. It is topical. Manchester United, apparently, Enzo Carno-Biek is flying into Manchester today to sign for Manchester United. Now, I know next to nothing about him. He is 18, only just 18. Le Havre in France is where he's from. He's an attacking centre-forward. Place of birth, Paris. I am reading this from Transfer Market. But he's 18, and apparently, we got linked to him last week, but apparently he's going to be flying into Manchester to sign for us today from Le Havre. He hasn't played any minutes for the first team at all. So again, it would be another young player coming in that I'm sure certain aspects of our fan base will tell us is the next Mbappe, and we're going to cook. But look, we know this strategy. We know this strategy. We know that's what's going to happen. Also, a little bit more topical news as well. We've still got loads of transfer stuff to go into, but just literally breaking this morning, the red card for Evan Nilsson has been rescinded by the Premier League. Just going to say this, the PGMOL are reckless and out of control just as much as Evan Nilsson's tackle was. I mean, how you can rescind that when in the first half they missed a blatant red card is hilarious. What are you doing? What are you doing? They're just out of control. But look, it doesn't really matter. We got the point out of the game anyway, but we got screwed over in that game. And, you know, the PGMOL are absolutely useless. Enzumo says, Gyökeres if United qualify for the Champions League, or Delap if the wheels come off and we don't lift Europa, says Enzumo. I'd like to think that's what it is. I don't think it necessarily is. I think even if we win the Europa League, we might still go for Delap. That's where we are at the moment. Things can change, but that's where we are at the moment. If we seriously wanted, and look, in relation to Delap, I'd love to be telling you something else. But I believe this source is very good, and I'd rather have updates every few weeks that are accurate than be putting out bullshit, you know, every other day. We were first on Delap being the priority. Anybody who watches the channel knows that, and you know that very soon after that, a lot of credible people started saying it. So, yeah, we are where we are with this. But all I'd say is if you want some hope, and I do, so much depends on what happens with this Europa League. Vival, Amorim is the only one I trust, says Liam. If we get Edison, who are we selling, says Liam Vernon. We'll be talking about him in a minute. It's the Frankie de Jong saga all over again, says Keel, and we know how that ended. Patrick says, I'm only here for the analogies. I've got a big list. Thank you very much. Cameron says, donations. So hopefully United Stand can get some flowers sent to the funeral for Arthur. Rest in peace and condolences, says Cameron. That is a lovely touch, Cameron. I think the funeral has already taken place. From what Alex told me, but what a lovely touch that is, Cameron. Okay, let's move then to look very, very quickly on Cunha as well. I think some people have asked what's going on with Cunha. Obviously, we're going to get a here we go very soon, etc. That was last Thursday. It's now nearly a week later. But as I said at the time, and I think as many of you intelligent people sort of said, how long's a piece of string? The transfer window doesn't open till June. So even if we announced Cunha in June, it's still very soon contextually in a transfer window. But I think what we're talking about with Cunha is actually we expect something this week, don't we? I think some people are expecting it over the weekend. It's hard to get information on this because I think the sources have got it locked down. You can guess, and I don't do that. I would keep an eye on Fabrizio on this one, and maybe a couple of others. Ben Jacobs seems to be quite good on this for some reason as well. So I would keep an eye on those people. But what I do know is what we know. There are scheduled meetings with Cunha this week. Not with Wolves, with Cunha. And the reason for that is Wolves have a release clause. So you don't really need to negotiate with Wolves. You agree a deal with Cunha. He wants to come to Man United. Then you speak to Wolves and you just agree how you're going to pay it. Probably instalments. So I don't know when this meeting's going to take place with Cunha. Maybe Man United are sort of in control of it as well. As long as Cunha's wanting to come to United, they can sort of announce it when they want. Do you announce it before Thursday? Do you announce it on Friday if you've had a bad result? Do you announce it next Monday because you might have lost to Brentford? I don't know what they're going to do. But I suppose it could drop at any time. But as things stand at the moment, again, we're very confident on that deal. You skipped past my last chat, Anders says. Maybe it was a bad one. Let me have a look. If we seriously wanted Osimhen but wages too much, we may get Gyökeres for cheaper wages if he was going to spend 60 odd million on Osimhen, says Anders. I don't think we're in for Osimhen. Not in the look, lots to get into, as I said, but let me just give you my opinion on this. Osimhen to me is a striker I would go for. It would be Gyökeres or Osimhen. Both are available, both are 26, both are experienced, both are what we need. So as long as we got one of them, I'd be quite happy. But I feel with Osimhen, we're throwing him in there because he fits the profile. I don't think Man United have ever really been in for him. I think what it is, it's Gyökeres, but if we don't get Gyökeres, or we can't get Gyökeres, or we don't believe we can get Gyökeres, it'll be Delap. And that's where United are at the moment. They obviously don't believe they can get Gyökeres because they're prioritising Delap. I think Osimhen's there, but I don't really think United see Osimhen as what they want. I don't even know if Amorim wants Osimhen. I would say Amorim wants Osimhen over Delap, but Amorim wants Gyökeres, doesn't he? So, look, Osimhen's fantastic. I would take him at United. I think he's a good option, but I'm not 100% sure that he is a priority for Man United as much as a Gyökeres would be if they could do the deal. Right, let's move on. I just want to talk to you about Frimpong very quickly as well. This is more a little bit of a research piece. Frimpong's release clause this summer is 40 million euros. So what, 34 million pounds? It's a very good deal for a European proven right wing back, basically, of which Man United need. We have held talks with Frimpong, as per, I think it was about 6 weeks ago, maybe the international break. We have held talks with Frimpong. We'll have held talks with a lot of people. That doesn't mean like Frimpong's coming to Man United. We'll have held talks with a lot of people. Sometimes those talks are instigated by the player as well. Like that does work. You know, you might be Victor Osimhen ringing up or getting in contact with Barada or Favel, you know, that happens in football. But we have held talks with Frimpong at some point in the last 2 months. Very, very quiet around him at the moment. It's such an opportunity, and it's such an opportunity in a position we need a little bit more experience as well. But it's about priorities, and we've already been told this. We're going for Cunha, we're going for a striker, we're going for a midfielder, and I think beyond that, what money's left? You know, we need 6 positions, priority positions: striker, number 10, midfielder, left-footed centre-back, right wing-back, goalkeeper. We need 6. Other people would say we need 2 midfielders, we need another left-back, we need another number 10. I agree, but absolute priority is those 6. I think once you've done your striker, hopefully Cunha, midfielder, I don't know what's left. I don't know what's left financially. So I think that someone like Frimpong's interesting, but what I will say is Liverpool are all over that. And it annoys me. It does annoy me because somebody was saying this on the show last night. We're going to pay 60-something million for Cunha. Liverpool got Jota for 40, They got McAllister for 40. If they get Frimpong for 40, why is it Liverpool consistently get good deals and Man United don't? And you know what it is? It's not even about reputation. Like a release clause of 62 million for Cunha, you can't get him for 40. You've got to pay the release clause. It's not even about Man United being bad at negotiations, which we are. It's also about being observant with the market. It's about looking at contracts. It's about looking at release clauses. It's about monitoring these things in advance and being ahead of the game. That's why Liverpool will get Frimpong for 40 million, because his release clause is 40 million. And they're in a good position to go and get him. Man United need to be switched on to these sort of things, because these things don't just drop into your lap in June. You've got to be monitoring this a year in advance, sometimes 2 years in advance. We need to get smarter on experienced players, because they are expensive, but there are good deals that you can do out there. Okay, let's talk about Ederson. So there was a news drop on Ederson yesterday about a price that Atalanta want. So apparently there is a lot of interest in Ederson, and the price tag of Ederson is 70 million euros, which is about 62 million pounds. Now, Atalanta are willing to negotiate on that, but the negotiations on that are probably about achieving that in installments. So I would say the reason 70 million euros has been dropped out there is it's very similar to sort of what we paid for Rasmus, and we did pay a lot for Ahmad as well. So I don't think that... I think this Ederson deal is probably going to be 70 million euros for whoever does it, based on maybe partial bonuses, maybe installments, but the whole package is probably going to be around that. And what it will be is, it will be 12 million in year one, 12 million in year two, 12 million in three. You know, it'll add up to that in installments, which could make it achievable for Manchester United, but could make it unachievable that the top line is just a lot of money. He is a very high... He's very high in the list for the midfield for Manchester United, as we know, as was reported last week, but he's certainly not. It's not going to be a cheap option. There's interest in that. I wouldn't be surprised if he was wearing a Man City shirt next year. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if he was wearing a Liverpool shirt next year. So that's the sort of competition you've got for him. I don't know. Look, we know Eriksen's going to go. We know we want to get rid of Casemiro. I'm massively intrigued why there's a bloody fly in a room that's shut. You better not be back. Where are you? Oh my God, it's a wasp. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is terrible news. This is absolutely terrible. It's not a wasp. It's not a fly. It's a wasp. How's it got in here? What are you doing in here, mate? Oh, this is terrible news. I'm not happy about this. And it's landed somewhere as well. I'm talking about Ederson. What can I hit it with? Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll hit it with my massage gun. That's going to really work, isn't it? Pulsate it to death. Oh, I'll just have to carry on with the show. This is horrible. I don't know where it's landed. Where we land. Okay, we'll leave that door open. Oh, I hate them. I hate them. William says, we're in a horrid position in the league. Teams know we'll overpay because we're desperate. We overpay and then the cycle continues. I don't massively care about overpaying, William. Wasps are horrible, though. It will sting me. A fly will just hide. But how has it got in here, though? The door was shut. There's got to be something. Doesn't make any bloody sense. There you go. There's one for the boffins. How does a wasp get in a room where there are no air vents and the door was shut? That is weird. That is really weird. It's on the footballs. I'm more intrigued about how it's got in. That's the thing that sort of gets me. Anyway, Ederson's the wasp, right? Yeah, going back to what you were saying there, I don't massively care about the. I don't massively care about the overpaying if it's the right player. So if you get Ederson and Gyökeres and Cunha and you pay maybe 60 million each, if you do that installments over 5 years, I think 2 of them are going to be a hit. So our big problem in the past, and I'd love to get some opinion on this, our big problem in the past is that you pay 80 million for Anthony and it's a complete and utter punt. Like, yeah, he did well at Ajax, but it's a complete and utter punt. You look at that Anthony deal, that's 3 years ago. 3 years ago, we paid £80 million for Anthony. We're about to potentially spend 60 on Cunha. 3 years later. I know what I'd rather be doing. You know, how many years ago did we spend £80 million on Harry Maguire? So we've massive, and look, Harry Maguire's done some good things for us, certainly more than Anthony, but we massively overpaid. So I'm not bothered about spending £60 million on Ederson if he's going to be the player I think he can be over the next 5 years. Same with Gyökeres, same with Cunha. I think some people go, I don't want us to spend money. And I just think, you know, you're not an accountant. You don't go to bed with Glazer pajamas. It's not about spending money that's the problem. It's spending it on the wrong players. Mark's got a nest in his wall, but how do you come through a wall? There's no bloody holes. There's no holes. I'm watertight. I'm confused. This is going to bother me. I'm not going to think about it. Mark versus the Wasp. Who wins? Don't worry about the gorilla. Oh, God, the gorilla thing's just ridiculous. Clip me up on this. The people who think 100 men won't beat one gorilla are thick. You are thick, thick, thick. You are stupid. Absolutely stupid. You know why you don't think 100 men will beat a gorilla? It's because you're the coward running away. I'm talking about 100, like Gerard Butler's in 300 versus, 300 the film. I'm talking about 100 Tyson Furies. Like, I'm talking about Uzyk's. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about brave people like you. You're just really thick if you think one gorilla is going to beat 100 people. Your mind's just... I love the concept because it exposes idiots. You're so thick. 100 men surrounding one gorilla in a circle, moving in. Yeah, it's going to swing a bit, but bloody hell, you're telling me 10 men can't grab one arm and 10 men can't grab another arm, pin it down and stamp on it? You're so thick. You're so thick. It's madness, absolute madness. Why was it in the olden days, cavemen, less than 100 of them could take down, saber-toothed tigers and stuff like that? And they didn't have weapons. I was old enough to remember. The Wasp got in the way. You did, mate. Says William. I don't know what that means. Welcome to the Members Club, Jake Jones. Should be able to negotiate for Ederson. He's got 1 year left on his contract, says Maliki. Has he now? Has he now? I did not know that. That's one thing I haven't looked at. Apparently, Ederson does have a release clause, but it's very, very high. Ederson at Atalanta, he's 25, and he's got a contract till 2027, so 2 years left on his contract. Yeah, there's a little bit of negotiation room, but Atalanta aren't stupid as well. Certainly not. Just on, very quickly, just on Erik ten Hag. No, we'll talk about Ahmad first, actually. Ahmad, we are at training today at Carrington, so we should hopefully be able to bring you some footage around sort of between 11 and 12. Get yourself over to United Stand Twitter account. We are at Carrington today, and we're flying out to Spain as well. So do give that, keep an eye on that. We're expecting really good updates on Ahmad and De Ligt. They are... I can't confirm this. This is pure speculation. But I will not be surprised if we see Ahmad training with the first team today. Running around, training with the first team. I don't know about De Ligt. That would be another boost. But I would not be surprised if we were to see Ahmad training today. What does that mean? I think it's very, very unlikely, thinking about tomorrow, and we should all be thinking about tomorrow, I think it's very, very unlikely that he gets on the plane and goes to Spain tomorrow. And in some ways, why would you? Why would you risk it? You can get him involved against Brentford, you can give him half a game, and then you can have him for the Old Trafford game. So I don't know whether he'll go, but I am hoping that we're going to see him in training today. Nico Williams is apparently fit for Bilbao. I don't know why people didn't think he was. He actually came off the bench at the weekend, or started at their last game. He's not... I didn't expect him to be out. Obviously, we know about Sanse as well. With regards to De Ligt, hopefully we'll get a good update on that. Let's see what happens with that. Jacob says, my firstborn child was born 2 days ago. Healthy boy and future Man United stand member. Leo, let's get a win for my son. Congratulations, Jacob. Love to see those messages. It's okay if we don't get Osimhen or Gyökeres, we can extend Victor Lindelof. All called Victor, says Ivan. There we go. Could a human punch hurt a gorilla, though, says Daniel. Mate, it's not bloody Terminator. I don't know what people think this bloody gorilla is. It's a bloody living human thing. And why are these people queuing up one by one? I don't think people understand the concept. If it's 100 cowards stood in a line watching each person get torn apart, they're going to lose. But it's 100 on one. You have a tactic, you surround it, and you go at it. You can't hit everybody. And trust me, if two people who know how to punch hit a gorilla on the back of the head at the same time, it's going to feel it. And it's going to get tired. It's not going to win. It's not going to win. I actually think a gorilla against 100 people, the gorilla would do well to take out 40 before it gets beat. Really would. Dan says, I'm buzzing with the idea of Edison, but Wasp the backup if we can get him. Oh, good one, Dan. Wasp's the backup if we can get him. Lovely stuff on that one. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Lots of people saying congratulations to Jacob, which is great stuff. Morning, Mark. Sending love from Nigeria, says Amaski. Thank you very much, mate. Hope you're doing well. LOL says we need a Carrick type next to Ugarte, not Edison. I mean, mate, if you can find me a Michael Carrick, then we are laughing. Michael Carrick obviously would be a type midfielder like that would be brilliant. That profile would be perfect. But yeah, I don't know. SNS says, very good. A gorilla is not designed to fight. It has 30-second bursts of energy, and then it will get tired. Exactly. People just don't think things through. They get very... Look, we see... The brilliant thing about 100 men against one gorilla is it exposes what we see on a daily basis in this community. People get an idea in their head and they won't listen. I told you so. People make their mind up about players and they won't change them. We know this. Mojo says, congratulations. Hey, Mojo. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you back as well. Lots. We've gone through a lot there and I'm very proud that we've got through most of it. What are your thoughts on Ten Hag going to Leverkusen? I'm going to circle back to something in a minute, but what are your thoughts on Ten Hag going to Leverkusen? So Plettigol has said that, and can I just go back to last night's show as well? Remember we were talking about the Gyökeres potential interest that came in from Florian Pletterberg, Plettigol on X, and I did say it sort of came from nowhere when he said talks have been held, but there's no green light at the moment. I wonder if Fabrizio will give us an update, and he has. Man United are interested. So, that's sort of where we are. But he's come out, Plettigol, and said that Ten Hag is certainly a high candidate to be the new Leverkusen coach. I believe that's because Alonso is leaving, isn't he? I would love to see Ten Hag at Leverkusen. I think it'd be a good fit. I would love to see Ten Hag rebuild his career. Oli is out in Turkey doing quite well, I think. Ranjik is doing well with Austria. I would love to see Ten Hag back coaching, doing well. I think he's a good coach. I think Man United could well be an impossible job for anybody. So I'm very pleased for him if he gets that job. And I think I always said he'd end up managing in the Bundesliga. He always had a very strong association with it. And I think it would be a good move for him. Mojo is definitely back. He's just gifted 20 memberships. And Parker has says, go get your samurai sword for that wasp. I'm just concerned how it's got in my room. There are no gaps. I hate wasps. I just bloody hate them. Why can't you piss off and bother somebody else? I moved house in November. The last house had a bloody big wasp nest. And I've definitely got one here again, haven't I? Collier's on the way to do some individual work, it seems, says Greg, who is at Carrington. And Garfield says, as strong as gorillas are and as much damage as their canines can do, it's not a fair fight and a sensible gorilla would try to flee, says Garfield. Mojo's a legend. Yes, thank you very much. So, yeah, just circling back to what we were talking about at the start. Obviously, I don't think we're going to get loads over the summer. I really don't think we're going to get loads. I think once the season ends, probably this source we have at the moment won't be able to give us loads because naturally, United aren't going to be, players are going to go on holiday and everything like that. And it goes very much into the boardroom then around what happens. But as I said to you in the international break about Onana, and as we said to you a few weeks ago about Delap being the priority, that source is very good and they've been very accurate. And I think in relation to where we are with the striker, you can get sort of distracted. I think some people are just trying to put stuff out there that doesn't actually say anything. Liam Delap would be interested in coming to Manchester United. What sort of update is that, really, when you think about it? I mean, he's Man United's priority. Like, what does he be interested in coming to Manchester United mean? The most important update is that United still remain very, very confident that they will get Delap. And a lot of that's down to Wilcox. Man United are not concerned about Chelsea or Bayern Munich. They don't really feel that they're viable options anyway. And we're the best option on the table for him. And at the moment, that's where we're going. It's not what I want to be telling you, but that's where we're going. I think the Gyökeres story, I'm glad it's not dead. I'm glad that people like Fabrizio Romano are saying Man United remain keen. And obviously, we all know this is the striker that Amorim would want, but you don't always get what you want at Man United. In fact, you very rarely do. So I would say, yeah, Liam Delap is likely to be the striker we get, but let's live in hope. Hello, my favourite content creator, says Jacob. Hello, Jacob. Hope you're doing well. Nicholas McCory has got an exam tomorrow. Amazing how similar the Glazers are to viruses. He's doing an exam on viruses. Can you wish Zishan a happy birthday, says Adnan. Happy birthday to Zishan and anybody else who has a birthday today. Christo, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for that. What's the plan for today? Well, 2 o'clock today. I don't know what's happening. The 2 o'clock show could be live from Bilbao. I don't know whether Beth's going to do that, but that would be great if we can do that. That reminds me, actually, check out the video that Beth and Maud's did from the studio about Bilbao tomorrow. Quite enjoyed that new format. That's on the homepage at the moment. I'll drop the link in the video description for anyone who's not watching live. And then we're 7 o'clock live tonight because I'm doing Barca Inter tonight on That's Football. Thanks everybody tuning into the Arsenal watch. I mean, I tell you what, just a quick observation on that. I just really think PSG are better than Arsenal. I think PSG are better than Liverpool. I think PSG are better than Man City. They've took the top 3 clubs in England and been better against all of them. I mean, this happens in life. This happens in football. PSG are just a good side. They've got a very good squad. They play as a team. And stylistically, I really like the way they play football. They move the ball quickly. They've got flair. They take people on. I love the fact that you've got Dembele on one wing and Kvaratskhelia on the other, supplemented by people like Doué and Barcola. It's a fantastic way. I love that midfield of João Neves, Vitinha, Ruiz. It works really well. Mendes and Hakimi, you see them bombing forward as well. I mean, I think looking at that and looking at Amorim Sporting, it's a lot closer to Enrique than it is to Pep. So, I mean, it's not the same, but this is where I think football's heading. I think the Premier League has become so locked in on Pep's playing out from the back, passing lanes, organisation, pass. Whereas I think Enrique is more about being a little bit more direct, being a little bit more individualistic, whilst also retaining possession. And I think that's where football's heading. So, United need to get ahead of the game here. Football is going to change in the Premier League. And I think PSG and maybe Barcelona, I haven't seen a lot of Barcelona. I'm looking forward to watching them tonight. But yeah, we're sort of moving to a style of football that I prefer to what I've seen in the Premier League for the last few years. This pass bullshit. I want to see wide players with flair. And that is part of Amorim's system as well. So, yeah, I think Vivs gives a very, very good example. PSG just aren't robotic like other teams are trying to be. Yeah, I think football in the Premier League has become very pragmatic and robotic. Look at what Pep. Look at what Pep does with the likes of Doku and Sabinho. Puts them on the bench. Ray says, "Morning, Mark. To be honest with you, I'm 30% and getting lower on signing Gyökeres, but that's me," says Ray. Oh, I'd love to sign him. I don't know whether that means you don't want to sign him or not, but I'd love to sign him. I mean, I don't want Delap. Gyökeres is way better. I really want Amorim to do what all the pundits say he should be doing, especially with the system, just to show them it won't work. 100 men will win, says Wesley. Thank you very much, mate. Gavin says, as I keep saying, if 100 men can't defeat Lily Phillips, how are they going to beat a gorilla? That should put an end to that. And Zumo says, in Africa, wasps and bees are a sign of blessings. There we go. And Jacob is a latest member of the... Jacob Hawks is the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Thanks for getting your badge in. Okay, everybody. So we're back at 2 o'clock live. Do check out that video that Mords and Beth Wiz did. I'm going to find out where this wasp went and also try and figure out where it came from. Any ideas, that would be great, because the door was closed and there are no windows open and there are no vents into the house, into the room. So I'm baffled by that, but we will see. Take care, everyone. Speak to you all in a bit.